on into it, buddy. It's been such a time. I missed you.
I'm keen. Let's get cracking.
3, 2, 1.
Gentlemen,
Cheers, everybody.
welcome to another episode, Ranger and Chow, for 2022.
Hopefully everybody's as charged as we are. We are well on our way. It's a nice Sunday afternoon here in South Australia. We've got 34-degree nonsense heat outside. Lovely day.
We've had nothing but weeks of rain up here and humidity, so that's about it. You're not missing. I've got to tell it, mate. Forget about all that. Oh, by the way, I'm Ranger. He's Chow.
G'day, guys. If you're tuning in for the first time, jump on board. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and get in store for a good rant. So yeah. I did throw the weather comment in there because I did hear the Queensland's been quite shit for you guys. So
it's been shit. And I picked up a new motorbike yesterday, and that was shit weather to be riding at home as well in the rain. I was just like, God damn it.
It was raining, was it? When I saw the photos of your collection, I thought maybe you'd gotten away with a bit of dry weather.
No, I got a little sprinkling, but it doesn't take much to dirty up a bike on a road.
It doesn't take much to off-center a large mammal like yourself. So,
hey, mate, I've got to give you a compliment.
Oh, thanks. I'd love that.
You got the old Rod Stewart hairdo going on there, mate.
I tell you what, the small town nonsense. 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, you can't get in for a haircut. 2 weeks after Christmas, they're just not open. So
that's great.
I did this excellent thing where I combed my hair back just after getting out of the shower. It's nice and wet and a bit more
I think just let it go. This is like the weekend of Chow.
I came out of the bathroom, looked at my wife, said, "She's not looking good today." And she goes, "You look exactly like your father." I went,
hey, I shouldn't be giving you shit about hair. Mine's falling out.
That's it. Mine just keeps going out and out and out. Yours is
these little lines here. These lines here keep going back, mate. That's where the army's retreating to. They're retreating out of the back.
Mate, if you had a wicked sunburn just on your forehead, that'd look like some devil horns right there.
Oh, mate, I get sunburnt so bad, I tell you.
I'm surprised. Anyway. You got such a healthy tan going on.
Hey, I've got a topic.
We better get into it. Yeah, what's up? What do you like for me?
Men's mental health. And the reason I'm saying men's mental health is because I feel that women get a little bit of attention in respect of things that come from bad marriages and that sort of stuff. They've got a lot of support and a lot of support networks there. And I'm not saying that any lesser that they suffer, but
touching
I don't feel like
just briefly though, it astounds me the amount of support that's out there, yet the amount of people that still don't seek that support. So if you're in that situation, definitely reach out. There is help for you. Continue as you were.
Yeah, well, that's it though. I mean, as a bloke, where do you go first? You know what I mean? Who do you ring? Where do you go if you're feeling like shit?
Look, obviously, in my previous years, I've been down a bit of a mental health stint myself, and after that time,
we have all, mate. We have all. Yeah. Everyone has.
All had our dark times, but there is plenty of good Facebook groups out there. Obviously, your Black Dog organisation is a big one, and a lot of support and a lot of little branches off of that organisation itself. So, those sorts of things are helpful. But again, yourself, when you're in that situation, to find those support or actually go to the effort of finding them yourself, when you're in that situation, you just don't bother. You think it's all too hard, but there is stuff out there, but you're right. There's definitely harder to find for a bloke, I think, at this stage.
I reckon there's two types of blokes when it comes to mental health: those that have experienced mental health problems and those that lie about having experienced mental health problems.
No, there's definitely a third one too. There's ones that are ignorant to it and think it's not a real thing.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Bit of personal experience there. Before I had my darkest times, I had my oldest brother's bucks party. We went down the Gold Coast, having a good time, and there was an old friend, like family friend, known him since I was just out of bloody nappy sort of thing. And one of his other friends who I also knew was his next door neighbour, and he had some significant mental health issues and recently going through a bit of a breakdown, still came along to the bucks party. And this other guy, he's a tradie, he's a real blokey bloke, and he's into him, mental health, it's not a real thing, depression's not a real thing, and just giving it to this guy, just basically calling him an idiot. And I'm looking back going,
really?
If I was 2 foot taller, you would be just out that window.
You know, I remember.
You do get the third strike of people that are very ignorant and very aggressive about it.
I remember when I used to work back in the asbestos industry. That was a fun time.
And, you remember 12 months ago, do you? Good work.
That was a fun time. That was so much fun. And there was a guy who was working for us. He just said, people that, attempt to commit suicide are just doing it for the attention. And little did he know, but just 6 months earlier, I'd lost a mate to suicide in Victoria, in Ballarat. And everyone was like that with him too, because he had several attempts at suicide, and everyone was like, oh, he's just doing it for attention. I'm thinking, seems like a pretty weird way to try and get attention. But anyway, it obviously wasn't, because he managed to get the job done and he is no longer with us. So for the people that sit there and say, oh, they're just seeking attention, that's bullshit, because he tried it several times before. It's obviously just didn't happen.
Well, no, I want to stop you there. It's not incorrect. They are seeking attention. They're seeking some sort of help, someone to realize
they're trying to get help.
Fundamentally wrong for you to get to that point. I've also seen a good video on Facebook of a bloke that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and he survived, and he was
I saw that.
Darkest, and he said the second that he leaped that thing, instant regret. So, there's that sort of things too. Obviously,
I remember seeing that.
Yes, you may have attempted, but you weren't successful. Maybe you had that fleeting regret and you fought for your life and came back through, but then still no one gave a shit about you and you got back to that same place again. There's deeper reasons.
That guy that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, I saw that. Like he I think he ended up as a paraplegic or something, but I remember the interview, and it was just like, oh no, like the second you leave the bridge, he was thinking to himself, damn, I shouldn't have done this.
His main thing was his dad, because obviously his dad was not quite aware of what was going on, but he kept telling him, yes, I'm okay, and just not picking up on those signs. And the first thing he thought of when he leave that no turning back point.
I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I don't know about other countries in the world, because obviously we're broadcasting everywhere, but in Australia, there's an organisation called is it called Black Dog or something?
Black Dog, yeah.
They're meant to be huge, and they're reaching out to just normal guys and people that have nowhere else to go. And it's a really good organisation. Actually, we should find out more about them in one of our later episodes.
I'll post a link in the bottom here just to get to that website if you are looking for some help. But I suppose on the other side of things, a bit of real life experience too, being down here in South Australia. My job is to sell insurance. Our target audience here is your rural population, so your farmers. And, it's a very different world here to anyone that's in a high density area, even so much as Brisbane or other countries like India, where you do have that high population density. Had a couple of these fellas.
You said population. No, you said Pompey density,
yeah, but the population density. So
I say that's a new word. Let's drink to that. Cheers.
Poppy density. But no, I mean, out here you do, like, your closest neighbours are kilometres down the road, like a good half an hour travel by car.
Yeah,
it's not the sort of thing that you're just popping down to have a 5-minute conversation.
Must be really lonely work, hey.
That's it. A lot of them have families, but again, the bloke's been that old school blokey mentality. They're not talking to their wives. You do have the big struggles of the long running droughts here in Australia, where you have 3, 4, 5 years of failed business, essentially. They say that farmers are the biggest gamblers in the world because they have multi-million-dollar properties and millions of dollars tied up in their assets for their machinery, and another $1 million worth of crop that could fall over at the end of the year, and they turn away with nothing for a whole year's work. That sort of stuff takes its toll, and not having anybody around to talk to just compounds that issue. So
I was going to say another thing about farmers, right, is like, when I was back in that wonderful asbestos job, bullshit. Anyway, obviously you spend a bit of time on the road, you know what I mean? And one thing I find is when you're in the car all the time on your own, you start to think, your brain starts churning over. You just think about
alone with your own thoughts for too long.
Yeah, like you were telling me the other day, you went on a 4-hour drive on your own. 4 hours on my own. I think I'll go troppo doing that. But farmers are sitting there in their harvesters for days on end on their own. You know what I mean?
Another a very, very new experience for me. Obviously, I'm new to insurance, and this year was my first harvest. I've had customers ringing me during my Christmas break, and my phone was off because we were instructed to do that for our own mentality. Turn our phones off during the break, turn it back on. There's voicemails from customers going, "Hey, do I still have cover for my crop because I'm still harvesting till the end of this month?" Stuff that was supposed to have finished last year, they've worked through their Christmas break, they've worked through the New Year's break. They're working until midnight, some of these guys, trying to get the job done so that we have food on our table. And all the little factors along the way, they're losing money left, right, and center for the longer this goes. They're working harder, they're doing longer hours, they're missing peak periods of, time that everyone else gets to have a break and celebration and enjoy themselves. They're all working. So that just compounds this issue.
But any type of business really is a bit of a gamble, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, you have a lot more education in your stock markets and things that you can see physical records of.
Well, farmers are relying on the weather.
Yeah, you can't predict the weather, and that's the hardest part. We're in an ever-growing world of climate change. Don't mean to be dismissive.
You just did the inverted commas thing. Did you just do that?
Yeah, don't want to be dismissive.
I've just lost all respect for you now because I think that shit is so 1990s. It's done. It's burned itself to death. Don't ever do that again, man. It's like your hair. It's out of control.
I promise I won't do that again.
The whole thing's over. We're done.
Hey, if there's any astute watchers out there, far less black teeth on the chow. He's had a bit of work done.
I understand.
So, but no, I think we've gone deep enough down that rabbit hole. Obviously, we have a lot of love for all the people.
Look, I'm just going to say good luck to all the farmers out there. I hope you're doing well. If you've got any problems, get in touch with someone who can help you, and I'll drink to that.
Hell, if you're looking just for someone to chat to, drop us a comment. We'll have a good long chat. We'll even hook you up with some private lines so we can talk more offline. But guys, stay safe, be well. Cheers. Have a squeak.
I don't think I'd like to be a farmer this day.